Alright, Origin, welcome to Slovenia for the third time.
Slovenia for the what time?
Third time, as I remember.
I think so, yeah. I don't remember. You remember better than I would. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to our tour bus.
For the first time.
Take a look around for our first time.
It's a beautiful bus.
First time we've had a bus in Slovenia. It's the first time we've headlined.
Second time.
Second time we've headlined in Slovenia.
Third time. All 3 times you were headliners, guys. That means you're pretty big here.
Third time we've headlined in Slovenia. Cheers. You can edit that in. Ouch, what was that?
How is the occupation of Europe going on? The tour in the snow, ice.
Occupied frozen occupation of frozen Europe. Well, we weren't expecting it to be this cold. I guess.
We brought the cold with us.
We both live in New York, and it's supposed to be like this right now in New York, but it's not. It's actually everywhere in the United States. We didn't really get a real winter. All we got was like extended springtime in January, which is really interesting. So we figured that by the time February rolled around, that the New York winter would eventually hit, and it would be miserable again like it is in every winter in New York. But instead we came out here and we ran straight into what we were used to, and it's still like 50 degrees in New York right now. So far it's been cold. I sprained my ankle 2 days ago, so I've been playing sprained ankle. That's fun.
So you guys, you're definitely one of the most extreme metal bands around, and I guess you bring extremities wherever you go.
Yeah, I guess so. Bring the extreme tour.
Bring the extreme weather conditions tour.
Extreme weather conditions, extreme painful conditions. Our bus broke down yesterday, so we had an extreme bus condition. You know.
No fucking bus tour.
And then we were extremely late.
Tour.
And
no
neither of us
shower tour.
Neither of us brought a real coat. So yeah, we're doing our best to bring extreme.
All right.
Extremely hot coffee.
How are people accepting the new material from the Entity album mixed with the older material from the previous ones? How is this lineup holding up together now? Is he a permanent member?
He is a permanent member. So far,
yes.
People love the material. Huh?
Yeah.
Hey!
Hey! It's official.
What's that?
It's official.
It's official. Please welcome our new vocalist.
Hey, I've been here for a minute.
Scotty from Vital Remains. So far it's been really awesome. It was actually coming to Europe and playing some bigger festivals that that really kind of put the notion in our head that we should probably really pay a little more attention to songwriting and memorable riffs and all that, because after doing 4 albums of the the signature Origin speed drill, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, you know, that's cool for a crowd of like 30 people in a small room. But when you get to, you know, when you find yourself in front of a giant stage in front of Party Son or Summer Breeze or something like that, and there's thousands of people, you know, it's cool to be able to reach all the way out to the back of the crowd and, you know, deliver your message of metal. So listening to a lot of Manowar earlier.
Okay, you guys also shared band duties when you played together in Skinless, right?
We were different time periods,
but it just he was the drummer before he left, and I joined right after he left, and it was just that kind of change up because he left, and then Bob Bolak came back, and then we knew each other because he moved to New York, so we knew it's a small scene where we lived, so everybody was tight there. So basically, how we met.
So, how it is to share the stage with the other guys in Origin? How it is to be a part of Origin now? Does it bring bigger responsibility into your life?
It does bring a lot more responsibility. It's I mean, I'm really happy with the direction that I've gone in. I'm glad that, I mean, Skinless was a blast, but it was very like, Skinless was like a good start, and then this is next level. This is like a lot more, a little bit more effort has to be put in to performing or anything like that, and just like as far as like energy wise. Just going from like Skinless, which is just like simple beats and simple song structures, and basically when I started trying out for Origin, like in my mind, I was thinking that like the one part in any of the Skinless songs that was fast and difficult is every Origin song all the time. So I had to like I really had to fucking get my shit up to par for it.
Did you try and make sense of these jerks noodling at 100 miles an hour?
Yeah. Did you call him before the audition, telling him to please slow down so I can get a gig?
I mean,
you can admit it on the camera. Come on.
I took care of it. Don't worry about it. I mean, I'm in Slovenia.
I'm in Slovenia.
That's all that matters.
No, the funny thing is when the thing went down with the last vocalist, he was on a sabbatical, an educational sabbatical, studying abroad for school.
I was living in India when I was hired.
Living in India
for Origin, literally, like it's no joke.
I'm like, when you get back in May?
Yeah.
When you get back in May, you want to join the band and go on tour? He's like, okay. That was that.
That was an easy tryout.
It was an easy tryout. It wasn't. There's no. There even couldn't even be a tryout.
I think the tryout was the first tour.
It was a tryout.
Do you wish that you had him as a singer in the studio sessions? I mean, Mike's and Paul's vocals are excellent, but do you think it would take some of the pressure of the bassist and of the guitarist who did the vocal lines on the studio recording?
Of course it would, but it wasn't an option at that time because he was out of the country. And so, I mean, we didn't want to get a guy in just to do studio vocals and then, you know, do a bunch of press with, well, this guy's going to be on the album, but then he's going to go away. So we assumed the best thing to do, you know, because, you know, James was out recently, and then we had another guy in, and he didn't work out, and he was gone. So we figured, you know, and our vocalist situation happened so quick that, I mean, we already had all the material written, and wow. So basically, we figured the best thing for the band and the fans, I mean, I guess, is you know, not to, you know, just keep it as simple as we can. We'll do the album to the best of our ability with the three of us. We'll do, you know, the three of us will do the album. Mike and Paul will do the vocals, and you know, we won't really touch on the vocalist. We'll just hold off on we won't talk about the vocalist situation right now. People had a lot of questions about it, and you know, basically what we were saying was we aren't really at liberty to speak on it right now. You know, give us a little bit of time, and people waited, and we figured that it was okay. I mean, it's kind of, looking back, it's kind of weird, you know, not telling people exactly what it is they want to hear, but we also knew that by holding off just a little bit longer and, you know, making sure Jason was going to be able to make it into the band, people would be happy when they realized what it was that we were finally up to. So it was kind of like it's a surprise, and it ended up working out pretty nice. The pressure was interesting because, yeah, I would track a song on drums, and then immediately we would have an unmixed drum, unmixed guitar, rough copy of the song that whoever wasn't working in the studio at the time, if Paul was tracking guitars, Mike was in the studio lobby looking up topics on the computer and writing lyrics and all that kind of stuff. If Mike was tracking bass, Paul, you know, vice versa. So, like, as soon as a song got tracked, somebody would go to another part of the studio and just start brainstorming. Yeah.
Because I remember when you guys put out the first info about the new album, you said this is going to be a stripped down album, the graphics will be stripped out. It even felt like it was some kind of anger in the back. Was this after the turmoil that started with the leaving vocalists and all these sessions, or was this just a typical death metal, you know?
Well, there's always
aggressive way to say.
There's always, I mean, yeah. Well, for one thing, when Origin writes an album, it seems like we always write an album in crunch time. It's because, like, I'm in New York, Paul's in California, Mike is in Kansas, so we're spread out all around the country. So Paul writes all this material. Mike and I just kind of study the basic guitars of it. And then there's usually roughly 2 to 3 weeks of practice of putting the album together, and then it's straight into the studio. And, you know, when you're just kind of put under that kind of pressure, it's like, so, like, like, for instance, a funny situation. Paul came to, see, we recorded the album in November, so Paul came to the studio, Paul came to my apartment in New York in the end of October. And we worked on the material for about 8 days. And I would work in the morning. I would work from 5 a.m. till about noon. Then I'd come home, and we'd work on the material till about 7 o'clock at night. And by then I was tired, so I went to bed. And while I was in bed sleeping, Paul would stay up late and like do vocal workouts. He would like put on a Cannibal Corpse record and sing along to the Cannibal Corpse record. So it was almost like I was being serenaded to sleep by the soulful tones of Paul Ryan. Yeah. It's kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, you had the vocalist situation that was awkward, and that just put stress on everyone. And you know, it was a real big deal then, but there was some personal situations going down with some of the members that they had to get through, and we don't even remember those parts very much anymore. Yeah, we got in the studio and we figured the only way we can really make this record, only way we can make this record work is it's 3-piece, is just to, yeah, we have to strip it down. We don't have things that a real vocalist can bring, so we had to rely on our strengths for it.
Interesting that all the dose of stress that you mentioned kind of doesn't reflect on the record. It seems very focused. It seems very, you know, like untouched by everything that is outside. One could almost say that you were like having a time of your life, being there, you know, just meditating when you were not playing and everything. It doesn't seem chaotic like Hate Eternal records when they were recording with death of the former member or something like that.
Well, I mean, it's that kind of stress and it's that kind of bullshit in your life that makes you focus on music like that. For us, for anybody, I'm sure. Jesus, that's not saying anything new. But on the other hand, yeah, we were in the studio and having a great time because it was a really comfortable studio. We love the engineer, Robert. He's a good friend of ours. You know, it's kind of it's where we live. So you know, you leave the house, you drive over to the studio really quickly and track, and come back home and sleep in your own bed, or you know, the bed at my mom's house in my particular case. But it was, yeah. So I mean, yeah.
Do you feel it's you also have bigger opportunities now working with a label like Nuclear Blast? Nothing opposed to Relapse, but just, you know, being on the label which has Nightwish.
Nightwish.
Is that their top grossing band?
Someone says yes.
Yes, someone says yes. Okay,
yeah.
Well, listen here, Nightwish.
I'm calling you out, bro.
All right, Nightwish. Here it comes. No, I mean, you know, it's Europe's biggest and longest running heavy metal record label, am I right? I mean, you go to the metal fests and their booths are huge. They've been doing this for a long time. You know, and Nuclear Blast, you know, management comes and she's like, well, you know, Nuclear Blast is into it. What do you think? And we're like, yes, please. And so far, I mean, so far so good. I mean, we didn't get pushed in any specific direction like with the last, like the last Origin record. It's like, all right, you're gonna have a scary alien face on your album, and that's it. And we were like, but I don't like scary alien faces on my album covers. Well, it's a centralized figure. It's a face. It's gonna draw a record. It's gonna draw kids in, new kids in. And to their credit, it did work to an extent, but we're still sitting here with an album cover that we thought looked funny. And so luckily, Nuclear Blast was they were kind enough to give us the freedom. We'll see what happens on the next record. I'm sure now that they've let us run free with this first album, they'll probably come back and they'll probably be like, all right, you know, let us take a swing at a couple of things, and it would only be fair that we are, of course, you know, congenial to that, right?
Okay, so you guys, this is your 5th album, and you've been on the scene many years now. Is there any DVD in plans? I mean, Skinless did it.
Skinless did do that a couple of times, actually. Buzzed and Brutal, Skin Flick.
Hey, look at me if I was not on any of them.
Exposed. Yeah, we're actually working on it right now. We've been compiling footage for a long time, from all the way back. We got footage from '97, I think. And we actually we recorded the entire rehearsal before coming out here, and that's going to be part of it. And we're going to be doing a lot of recording on the U.S. tour. We weren't able to bring a cameraman out this time, but you know, we all got iPhone cameras and all that kind of stuff. We're supposed to be recording, you know, shenanigans between the shows. So it's coming along slowly, but it's probably gonna be big. We're hoping it's gonna be a big double DVD, you know, thing. with a lot of interesting footage on there.
Excellent. Hey,
It's supposed to commemorate, like, you know, like almost how many years of the band? 14, 12 years of the band. So it's not like a band that comes out, puts out 2 records, and then dumps out a DVD. You know, of like 2 years of mayhem. It's like, wow.
did you ever imagine? I mean, you had the first show you had with Suffocation, and did you remember that many years after you'd be like sitting on this tour bus, having a 5th album under your belt, after all the changes and everything going on?
I wasn't there for that show. I was in a different band. But no, of course I never imagined I'd be sitting on the tour bus. You know, I don't think anybody really. Well, I don't know. Maybe they do. I was hoping I would be sitting on a tour bus when I got on stage for my first show, which is, I don't remember. But
I don't think anybody imagines sitting on the tour bus ever in this kind of music when you start out when you're fucking 15.
well, I mean, somebody must, because, you know, we do have bands that are coming out and
Maybe
they're on a tour bus.
15-year-olds now.
Yeah,
start out,
kid's
but
20, he's on a tour bus, 1 album in, you know. But no, back in the old days. back in the you remember the old days? CDs?
Yeah.
Old
tapes.
school. No, CDs.
No tapes.
If I say the old days, it has to be vinyl.
Okay, for me too. Okay, what will you guys do after this European tour? You're having a US tour, recording a 7-inch or something like that?
No, we're gonna go home and rest for a couple of weeks, and then we hit the road with. Looks like so far. I mean, we got a few bands we're going out with. I think Cattle Decapitation,
Misery
Aborted,
Index,
Misery Index.
Aborted.
You know, so far that's how it's looking. I think it's gonna be like 8-band kind of festival, like springtime festival run. So we're looking forward to that. That's like a month and a half long, I think.
So if the end of the world is actually coming in 2012, this is a perfect soundtrack, right?
Yeah,
We are the bringers of the extreme end of the world.
Yeah, I mean, if Black Sabbath really isn't going to reunite in 2012, then
It's all over.
then I guess
Just fucking pack it up.
I mean, that would have been really good for all the doomsayers. The original lineup of Black Sabbath will play Black Sabbath on stage in 2012, and the depths of hell will open up and swallow everybody,
Even Ozzy.
even Ozzy.
Not Ozzy. He'll be the one.
Well, that's right.
left
Ozzy's been
standing.
redeemed. Sharon paid off. Hell or whatever. Owns.
Owns a quarter share.
She owns hell. She owns that company.
Right, do you guys have any last notes for the people who will enjoy this interview in a couple of weeks' time?
Hope you enjoyed the interview, and
will.
hope Nightwish enjoys the interview. I love Nightwish.
We're gonna go listen to our Nightwish.
We're gonna go
records
check out
after
Nightwish.
this.
And yeah, that's it. Thanks for tuning in.
Cheers.
Right.
Chars.